Erotic confrontation, violence. I say that because sometimes my videos get shut down. Patriarchal war and feminine power. So it's time for us to have experiences. Okay. Uh, you're tired of the conversations that I'm hearing, right? I'm we use virtual because, right? How else are we going to connect with people in the world, right? Unless we're ready to just go country to country. Hello, YouTube. I'm also Facebook here. If you're ready for an experience offline, some virtual, obviously, because if you live in France, if you live in South Africa, if you live in Detroit, right, that we will connect virtually. But you're also very clear that you're ready for in person. Okay. So if you truly seek freedom, true personal power, okay, as a man or a woman, you truly want to know who you are underneath all the ideas you currently have about who you are. You want to stop running from yourself. Stop running from things that feel uncomfortable, that scare you. You want to stop saying, I'm scared, and letting that be the reason why you live in a small world. You want to stop being afraid of attention, attention that you may perceive as good or attention that you perceive as bad. You want to stop saying no to life and running, doing things like hyper consumption of food, hyper consumption of social media, hyper consumption of shop Amazon, hyper consumption of gossip, hyper consumption of other people's business, hyper consumption of all these things that help you run from yourself, stay away from who you are. And you want true personal power, where you take everything that has happened, that is currently happening, and that will happen in your life, and you're able to use that, have it mean what you decide it means, have it do for you what you decide it does for you, where you stop the division between you and whoever you create divide with, whether that's your mom, your spouse, other races of people, whoever, like them and us. Yeah, I mean, you can do that. You can do whatever you like, right? You're doing it now, right? When you have something that is important for you to say, whether you're looking at it in a business as a transformational leader, coach, speaker, CEO, or something to say in your life, right? You have something to say that's important. You really like, it's like, what is there to me, right? Which requires you getting to know yourself so you can speak, so you can be present with people, so you can sit in the presence of somebody who you don't like them. Their presence is disturbing to you. They are wrong. They are dangerous. That's the devil. That's the enemy right there. They've been against me my whole life. She doesn't like me. I don't like her. He's abusive. That's a rapist. I don't like my brother. He's a narcissist. My sister's jealous of me. She's compared herself to me since we were children. My mother has pit us against each other. I don't work well with women. I don't trust men. Fuck patriarchy. Like all the things right now that keep you inside of a small existence. You might not even see it as small. You just see it as, I hate humans. I hate Earth. I hate it here. Earth is trash, right? Earth is ghetto. Humans are shit. Humans are ghetto. I don't like him because this, I don't like her. All that. That keeps, so if that's your reality, right? If that's my reality, Naima, right? I don't trust men. I hate my mom. Women are trash. I fight kids. Fill in the blank, right? My friends are jealous. I can't even really talk to them about what I mean. I'm a loner, right? Your world is small. You're not going to create partnerships in whatever form that are rich and dynamic and that allow you guys to create something that truly is riveting to you, that excites you, that makes you like, I am living heaven on earth, regardless of the wars going on, right? Regardless of the war that may still be furnacing in you, right? In order to actually come to a place where the narcissism that you see in him is also in you, the jealousy you see in your sister, the hurt in her that makes her compare you and her, the hurt in your mom that made her even pit you and your sister together, the the racism in you that your great granddaddy, white man, who taught you that black people are dirty, less educated, untrustworthy, that you have deep inside of your unconscious programming has you acting it out still. While your conscious mind is, I'm a good person. Yes, what they did was wrong and bad, but I'm a good person, right? When your granddaddy was very much a part of your upbringing, he taught your dad, who taught you, right? Or taught your mom and taught you. Therefore, your world is small. All your friends are white. Your whole network is white. Maybe you're a coach. All your clients are white. What does that tell you? You're a white coach, all your clients are white, but you say this is for all. There's no division. I am for coming together. I am for love. I am for transformation. And you have quietly questioned who you really are. Why all of your clients are white. Why no black women, no black men come to you. Why no Indian women come to you, or very few. Or maybe you try to put one in your advertising so you appear as, you know, right? Who are you really? Like, what are you really doing here? What do you really wish to create here? In order to do that, we, all of us, myself included, are required to have experiences that challenge real world experiences, not reading spirituality books, not binge watching our favorite spirituality teacher on YouTube, not going to a workshop here, retreat there, but committing to relationships that challenge our deep programming. Many of us, we have boyfriends, we have girlfriends, we have friends, we have people we do brunch with, we have our mom, we have our sister circles, etc. And yet we can feel the limitations in those relationships. We can feel that, yes, our husband loves us, we love him, or our boyfriend, our wife, our mom. Yes, they love us. Yes, we love them. And there's a limitation there. They're not interested in the work that you're interested in. They're not compelled in the way that you are compelled. They're not seeking and hungry and wondering the way you are. They're not interested in the conversations you are. Right? You're too deep. Why? Who cares? Right? They're more interested in what's going on out here and all the things. It is so important now. I mean, just look around. Looking at what's going on out in the world. No, what's going on with you that's then constructing the world that you live in. That's dictating how you're even seeing the rest of the world. Why do you separate them from you? Why does your world look the way it look? It is time for each and every one of us to deliberately get inside of relationships that challenge our deprogramming. Black women who are interested in dating out and they're scared of dating white men. Why? Like deeply, not like because racism and because their great grandfathers raped our mother. Yeah, that's a part of it. But have you actually gotten into the experience so you can know it in your body versus just like, well, I think and because I sense and like maybe like have you actually let yourself get into incredibly challenging situations with white men that truly challenge your thinking and how it actually feels to sit with him, to dine with him, to talk with him, to ask him penetrating questions? If you're a white man who's been interested in dating a non-white woman, and maybe your current world is filled with white people and you're curious, but you've been scared because how you'll look, what is deep in you that you've yet to confront that keeps you in your small world? And something it's like, but I want to know, why am I like this? Why am I tight? Like, why am I scared like this? If you're a woman who's been wanting to have more money, like maybe you've been kept by your husband, and it's been good for a long time. You've been able to hide. You've been able to play the acceptable role of good wife, good mother. And in those golden handcuffs, you have felt constricted in who you are. Like, who am I outside of this? Who am I? And part of why you get to really go out and explore is like you don't even, your sustenance is dependent on the man, your food, your housing, and who you are outside of that. Truly stewarding your voice, truly designing. Like, what would you design if you didn't have him and seeing yourself through his lens? Who would you interact with? Where would you travel? What would you say? What kind of money would you make? What would you create? Maybe you lived inside of a world, just the bubble, what I call the bubble of blackness, very strong black identity. Maybe you were raised in Virginia where everybody around you was black. Maybe you were raised in Mississippi, where everybody was black. And everybody outside of you feels like other, or maybe it feels unsafe to go out into the world. So it's like you don't even know who you are. You know who you are inside of your current confines and inside of your small reality. But if you were to be in a relationship with somebody who challenges your very idea of what the world looks like, so you stop looking at the news and they tell you what to think and feel. You stop looking at YouTube. You stop looking at me. You stop looking at other people who tell you this. You stop looking at YouTube comments with the wars going on and the personalities that people live online while they're living a totally different personality offline. And you let yourself get into offline relationships with people who look nothing like you, who talk nothing like you, who have lived completely different realities up to today. And they say something that challenges your idea of what life is like for women, what life is like for men, what life is like for seniors, what life is like for some Indian guy who's 28 years old, whose mother died and he was raised by his father in Poland. Will you let yourself open up enough to hear something that makes you feel completely uncomfortable, that is in complete opposition to what you have been raised to think and feel and believe your entire life? I mean, this is where we are in the world now. You must know that you know that you know, not because somebody told you so, not because it's a part of religious teachings and because the master guru told you, or because you say. What do you actually know because you've experienced it? Because you actually sat with 50 white men and asked them penetrating questions that they were open to from you, and they answered them, and they asked you questions that forced you to think, and you were open to this experience. And you didn't judge, you didn't make snap decisions. You came with your ideas and you realized, gosh, these are ideas I've been walking around with, but how do I know that they are true? And that relationship, you chose to get to the other side of your ideas about what is true. You've chose all the ways that you've made people wrong, all the ways that you kept yourself separate, like those people over there, and they are like that, I'm not like that. Well, have you been in conditions that they have been in so that you know that you would have done differently? Or are you looking at it from the outside saying, if I was in that, I wouldn't have done that? Well, how do you know? You weren't in it. Erotic confrontation. Erotic confrontation. What do I mean by that? First of all, there's a link with the video here. If you're ready to start having experiences, conversations, sex, whatever, the experience that you really let yourself get into, right? Let yourself be tempted by the stuff that's already pulling you everywhere. Everybody's neurotic. Everybody's neurotic, trying to run from themselves, that closing themselves off to things that feel, if it's too pure, if it's too simple, if it's too true, if it's too good, if it feels too big than what they think they can have, if it feels too generous, if it's too loving, if it feels like it's too outside of their world. No, right? So everybody's neurotic because folks are anxious and small and they live inside of their world. So if anything comes that feels like it's outside of that, that's why we're neurotic as fuck. Okay. If you really want to be free, gosh, really touch the nothingness of it all, the nothing and everything, right? Like have true access to your power. Like touch the bottom of yourself so that everything you create then is very much on purpose. You didn't like accidentally, like, how did I get here? Like, why is this happening to me? It's going to happen in relationship with other people. That you agree to be very open to experiencing yourself. You agree to see the evil in yourself and approve of it. You agree to see the part of you that has propagated good and bad and approve of that. You get a chance to be witnessed in who you actually are, not these ideas about who you want to be, not the personality, very well developed personality that you have. The thing that you walk around in so that you get along with your mom and your sister and your wife and all the people. And that you're inside of a relationship where you are welcome to be a mess, to be greedy, to be evil, to be wrong, to be an insatiable sex freak. Just, I'm saying that to say whatever comes out. If I haven't named it, even if that comes out of you, all of that is allowed. Erotic confrontation. It's about the confrontation of yourself without abandoning yourself, without leaving and going grabbing at something else because you don't want to look at yourself, running to something else, grabbing at social media, grabbing at a man, you know, grabbing at your current reality, being glued to your bed, glued to food. And deep inside, you don't know what it is, but there's something in you that keeps you in this pattern. See, you're not alone. The neuroticism, you just haven't been met in the fullness of yourself, so you can. It's not just me. You can stop running. You can stop exhausting. You can stop burning all your fuel on running from yourself and actually look at yourself. And not just look and wail and despair and grieve and cry and feel the misery of it all, which you're not alone in, but actually be approved in that. And then actually look at the parts of you that are immensely powerful, that right now you can't even stand, which is part of why you run from yourself. The parts of you that, if it's important to you to be able to speak on camera, if it's important for you to be able to create another reality, and that is a means to run, like virtual reality. But people want to run. I want to go to Mars. I asked my nephew, "You want to be in real life or virtual reality?" Well, it depends on what's going on in virtual reality. You click the link with the video. So it's coming together. I'm in the whisper. Okay. It's very clear to me that experiences are what's required, where everything is allowed. This is not some coaching program where you come to play that whole game of, right? You guys know what I'm talking about for those of you who have been in coaching programs. In this experience, real life is happening. The part of you that wants to kill me gets to have a place. The part of you that wants to destroy something that's, thank you very much, that's very present for me is the very distinct vitriol reserved for Black women. that has come up. And as I've been moving and living in the whisper, I can feel it there. I can feel like I felt it in the room with people. I can feel it's amazing. It's there. And it's in all of us. Most of us are like removed from it. Right? It's like we kind of like back here, you live out there. But then when you stand in it and you allow it to exist as you're interacting with people, you can feel, especially working with clients with power, prospective clients, conversations with people, Meghan Markle, we get to witness it with Meghan Markle. Okay. But there's a distinct vitriol for women and power and our sexuality and our body, the very nature, the very trueness, that just like what is, without any ideology and what's right, just what is, the distinct vitriol and mistrust and the no and put that down, right? And then the black feminine. There's a very distinct vitriol around that. So when we're in a space where all is allowed, that will be there too. We want to kill the feminine. Well, look around. We see a woman in power, a black woman in power. We want to kill her. So, what do you think? All the black women who are called to do distinct work, who are called to be in full, pristine, unbending power, what do you think happens to her? Huh? Where her vagina is liberated, her heart is liberated, her whole being is liberated. What do you think happens to her at a deep, deep level? What work do you think is required of her? What relationships do you think are required of her so she can burn it off, burn it off, burn it off, burn it off, and become more true and more true so that she can stand in the face of violence and not flinch? That she can swell open so largely and take it in? Huh? What do you think is required? Watching YouTube videos? Reading a bunch of books about feminine power and transformation? Laying up under her husband, who can be killed, by the way. Lay up under her husband. Ooh, and that sweet golden thrill of safety. Erotic confrontation. Who are you really? What's underneath all the facades? All the jewelry, all the looking good, all the, you ate that. What's underneath all the beautiful weaves, handmade wigs, the beat face? What's underneath? What's moving you? What's underneath the white power? What's underneath the white masculinity? What's underneath the patriarchy? What are the strings that are pulling that? What relationships are required to really explore that, to really confront that? Because here's another thing, I can choose to deliberately be evil without it being like, oh, I didn't know I was doing that. I didn't mean to do that. I have a story for you. So, Wednesday night, I go to a health club regularly. It's important for me to be strong in my body, to challenge my body, to deliberately put myself in pain to get to the other side. Like my life is this way. Okay. So it's a total body class where we're doing weights, it's a lot of legs and lifting, and we're using a lot of body strength to develop strength. And when I get into class, there's like maybe 15 people there, pretty full class. And I see maybe like four people have mats. And I'm like, oh, we need mats, right? So I get a mat and I put a mat down and I go get my weights. And when I'm coming back to the mat with my weights, I see a woman is taking my mat, white woman, putting my mat like up against the wall, right? So what happened? I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And there's a guy standing right next to me. And I say to him, so are we using mats or are we not using mats? He's like, no, we're not using mats. So I don't know. The other people must have thought we were using mats and whatever, right? So they ended up putting the mats back. So then I take my weights and I go take up space, right? So we're getting ready to start class. The teacher is setting up her music, etc. Right. And so the white woman who had put up my mat, I actually can't even recall if I said something to her because when I realized we didn't need mats, I let it go, right? And she came over to me. I don't know. She may have been about 55 years old, blonde. Her hair was back in a ponytail, bangs, attractive looking woman. And she says to me, um, I'm sorry. Smile on her face the whole time. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't mean to seem like a total bitch. I just, was just moving the mat and I look back at her and I smile and I'm like, and I'm totally like playing with her because I can see, right? I said to her with a smile on my face, actually, I think you did mean to be a bitch and it's all good, right? And I'm saying all this with a smile on my face, right? And then then she walks away. So we do our workout and like in between, like about, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 minutes into class, we're like getting water. It's an intense class, right? The teacher's like, get water. Da, da, da. And while we're getting water during one of the breaks, she comes over to me and she's like, no, I'm sorry. I really didn't mean to. I'm sorry. I just want you to know I didn't mean to be a bitch about that. And I'm like, it's all good. So this is the second time she says something, right? It's all good. It's all good. Then after class, right? I go downstairs. Now I'm in the women's locker room and I'm talking to another woman who was in the class and we're talking about how difficult the class was and I was hurting to walk down the stairs after class. That's how much pain we're in. That's how intense this class was, right? We're doing lots of squats and quad leg stuff. And this white woman comes to me again. So she comes downstairs again to me and she comes into the locker room and she says to me, I just want you to know that I felt like, okay, so here's where the truth came out. Right? I just want you to know I felt like you were invading my space. Okay. I felt like you were invading my space and I moved the mat so I could get my space back. You see that? And I said, thank you. She said, I hope you can understand that. That's what she said. And I said, thank you for sharing that. I do understand and it's all good. Okay. Now, I deliberately was like picking at her like that. I think you were being a bitch. So I was giving back to her what she was giving to me, this fake niceness, because I knew she was lying. I knew she was withholding, right? I knew. And most people are not going to admit it if you just like call them out. But see, this is service. This is what we need to come into true full power, right? People who don't make us wrong and bad. No, that's out of integrity. No, no, this is how you should do it. No, you're wrong. I'm right, right? And I deliberately was like, I think you did mean to be a bitch, right? And behind it, though, the intent was good. Okay. This is what I mean when I said you can choose to be evil. What's your intent? What is your intent? Is your intent to be nasty? Just be true about it. Is your intent to cause a ripple effect here without direct, like, right? Because there's more than one way to skin a cat. But see, this is what happens in relationship with people who are there to come into true power. With people who are truly there to come to know what is underneath the fake. I'm sorry. I'm a good person. Or even underneath people who are mean, really as a means to avert true intimacy. Right? Like people who are mean because what they really want you to do is show that you're unlike the others. They really want you to come through their walls, come get them. It's like the little girl or little boy is down up in there. And what they do is they put up this monstrous wall of like anger, asshole, a lot of assholes. Like people who give asshole energy, is a little girl, little boy up in there. And they put up the asshole wall. I've experienced this so many times with men. They put up the asshole wall and they want to see if you're going to deal with them how everybody else does. If you're going to make them wrong, if you're gonna be like, you asshole, fuck you, da da da. So then the division remains, right? And they get to say, see, bitch, see, right? But if you meet an asshole with sincere curiosity, right? Not like psychological, right? But like, how did this woman become this way? Why is this man this way? And you're sincere, they will know. And the asshole that they've been with everybody else, that wall will come down. This happened to me. The first time it happened to me, I was like, incredible. We were hugging after like less than 10 minutes. Me and this white guy was like he was being such an asshole with me. We were at this networking event. And this is across the board. How many of us have experienced men and women like this? If you're ready to have experiences that take you outside of your current, and look, and you can keep whatever is your current reality, right? That's your comfort zone. There are certain pieces of it that you really like, right? Good, great. And inside of that, you know that there are parts of yourself that you don't know. You're actually scared to get to know what's there because of how it might interrupt your reality. So this is really, these experiences that I'm talking about are more so for those of us who, at least how I imagine it, right? I'm not telling you if it's for you or not. I'm saying what I imagine who it's for. Um, those of us who feel very like we live in small realities and we know that there's so much more to ourselves and to life, but our current relationships with the current people in our lives don't allow us to actually get to know those parts of ourselves and live ourselves. You might want to have a really like wild sexual experience with a man that you've never had, that you, right, you might want to like, this is what I mean, like the everything is allowed in this space. Nothing is bad and wrong. It's like complete acknowledgement and allowance of everything that's true about ourselves. There's no ideology, there's no media. Like, of course, we got to have like a boundary, right? Or that each person erects on their own. And of course, I have to have a certain kind of structure because I'm responsible for the community and the way that I am. And what I know from my own self being, gosh, just like for real free and seeking, where am I unfree? Like really, where do I want to say no here? Because a part of me is scared, or like um Krish, I can't recall his name, Indian spiritual teacher. He said freedom from what is it? Freedom from the, like freedom from fear of the unknown. So enter your email. Yeah, I'm in the whisper and I'm allowing myself to just completely be in the whisper, like down in there, like water, like noticing when I get tight and I start to overthink or even just grip at thoughts to construct something and like leaning back. Where does desire sit in my body? Where do I feel? What do I seem to be leaning toward? What rhythm seems to have non ending inside my system? Coming back, look at where I'm making meaning somewhere. It's not even real, but I'm making it mean that because then I get to control it if I give it that meaning, right? Who are you? What power do you have? Where is your freedom? What does freedom mean to you? You are vast. You're wildly, wildly vast. And getting to know that happens in relationship with people who shake you awake because your time is limited, literally. You will have your last year here on earth. You will have your last month. When you really get that at a deep soul level, that one day will be your last year here. One day it will be your last month here. And that's where the real showdown starts to happen. Everything that you avoided and ran from, it's like, thank you.